Welcome to another episode of Follow Up Genius. I'm Wesley Rocha with my co-host.
I'm Stephen Groders.
And as you can see, we've got a little unique setup here as we're working remote because of basically the quarantine, the statewide quarantine and stay in place order that's been here. And obviously things are a bit crazy. And this episode, we're going to be talking about what you could do to survive during this time. But not only that, but to position yourself so that when this is over, you could actually thrive. Sound good?
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started.
Welcome to the Follow Up Genius Show, a show dedicated to helping real estate agents find their fortune in follow-up by creating stronger relationships, generating more referrals, and converting more leads. Hosted by Wesley Rocha, founder and CEO of LinkU, and Stephen Groders, real estate entrepreneur and high-performance coach. Follow us at followupgenius.net.
All right, so as everyone knows, you've been watching the news and everything, and it almost feels like the world is falling apart right beneath our feet. But
yeah, I advise stay away from the news.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's distracting. There's every few seconds I'm subscribed to these Facebook Lives. It's like binging, and I'm just like, I can't watch all of these. I'm just gonna look at the summary at the end of the day to catch myself up, because I have to focus on keeping things together here.
Sure, as a small business owner, certainly. But you know what I found, Wes, in my personal situation, I've actually found my Facebook screen time to go down because I'm trying to really just fill myself with knowledge. And I'm not filling it with coronavirus knowledge. It's like, what can I do creatively to help those who need our help? So, and that's what we're going to talk about today on this episode of Follow Up Genius.
Right. So today, what we want to focus on, because there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of worry. There's a lot of panic in many different industries. Obviously, the restaurants are closing, a lot of them, a lot of other businesses. And hourly workers are basically at home without pay. Now, in the real estate industry, for example, where we do obviously a lot of work in, there's quite a few advantages, I think, that you have in the industry that actually could help you to, maintain and survive during this time, and possibly even gain some ground. What do you think?
Oh, I think what's going to happen now, we've started to see a big separation from the top producers to the lifestyle agents. You're starting to see that gap grow. It's been taking place for years. And I think after this little situation or crisis, call it what you want to, I think that gap is going to be gaping now. Because what I'm starting to see with the teams that we're working in, the top producers, is they're really, really devoted to helping their community at all measures, right? And they're still selling homes. They're getting really, really creative with doing it, but they're not making jokes about this. They're actually out working with their community to thrive. I hate to use that word because
because so many are struggling, and so you're kind of are like, well, how do I thrive during this situation? And you got to look. I mean, there are businesses that are going to have some of their hugest profits ever with toilet paper and hand sanitizer and all that. No, even just normally, right? Shopping is up. GameStop is recording increased sales during this time because people are home playing games and stuff. So
Zoom conferencing.
Correct. So really there's always somewhere in an economy, and it kind of just depends where you are at that point, or how creative you can be and how you can reposition yourself. So with real estate, we have, yes, you're going to have people. I've heard it already. I've seen it in the groups. I had a buyer pull out. They're going to wait till this is over. We've had a seller decide they're going to hold off, or maybe even leads they're working where they had something scheduled to go look at some open houses or do an open house or whatever it may be. Those things got pushed off. And so I think
so let's talk about that, right?
Yes.
So that brings up a good point. Let's talk about the sellers who actually want to wait, right? I want to wait for all of this. And I don't necessarily blame them for waiting, right? I personally would too. But if I'm a professional and I'm being an advisor to my seller, I'm telling my seller, great, this is a really good time to make those minor repairs that someone's going to request you to do anyways. If, of course, you're in the position to do that. And okay, if you're not in that position to do that and you need some exterior work done, as a realtor, you've got a Rolodex full of people you could call to get exterior work to be done, right? You can't do that in California, but there's a lot of places in this country where you can have outside workers go clean up the exterior of the house because it's starting to be spring in a lot of markets, right? That's just being creative of working with your sphere, helping your sellers position themselves to win when this whole crisis is over. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. So it's just really finding those needs and for the seller. What can they be doing now? The other thing I would recommend doing as well is this is where follow-up really is going to come into play, whether they be buyer leads you're working with or sellers, people you're either active leads you were looking with that decided to put things off, or people you were literally going out and showing homes with that are putting it off. This is where follow-up is going to be key over the next, couple months. Because what I feel like a lot of agents are going to do, what a lot of people will do, is say, okay, they're going to wait, and then kind of just let 2 months will go by or however many weeks will go by, and then they'll just call the buyer or whatever and be like, hey, so are you ready? Or they're going to wait for that person to call them, and then something might have changed or something else came in or their cousin came in the picture or whatever it may be. So what I would say to do for that, and this is really key, is, okay, you want to wait, no problem. Obviously, you can make those suggestions. And what I'll do is I'll keep you up to date. I'll basically follow up with you over the next few weeks, kind of let you know kind of where things are with the market. If the market starts dipping or something that I feel like might be.
That's what the agents They should be keeping their clients. They should be keeping their clients up to date with what's going on in the market, not what's going on with this virus, because they're not medical
in the market,
right? What's going on in the market? How can this impact us? And there's a lot of agents we work with that work with investors. How is this going to impact them? We can talk about a lot of things as real estate professionals that are going to have an enormous impact on our clients, right? Have you seen a dip in the stock market at all?
Right. Huge dips.
Right. So how, as realtors, what do we do that's a conversation we can have with our clients, right? Hey, have you had a chance to take a look at the stock market? Don't be scared. A lot of people sold. So that means there's a lot of cash in their pockets, right?
Yeah. And
they're going to have to invest in
place
something.
to put it. Yeah. Real estate
Absolutely.
can be.
And even if it's, again, some of it may be in the next 2 months. Again, you could be positioning yourself, planting seeds, preparing for that. And you will have deals now. You might have someone, like if I was a seller, actually, to be honest, I might be, and I was either thinking of selling soon or was selling now. Honestly, I might keep my house on the market. The reason being is because I'm like, well, shoot, the value is going to drop in the next few months with all this. And if so, and and if house values do, decline, they don't decline like the stock market. It's a very,
it's much slower.
It's going to be stable for a long, long time, but we are going to have an impact because, middle class America is going to be impacted by this. We are going to have some foreclosures. We are going to have some short sales. We are going to have the need for loan modification. If I was a real estate agent who practiced every single day, I'd be studying this stuff like no tomorrow, just preparing yourself, just like many are preparing themselves with toilet paper and hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Why don't we prepare ourselves with knowledge?
Right. Back in
posture ourselves. Exactly.
That happened as well.
And it cleaned out a lot of people, agents and stuff, because they didn't basically diversify, or they didn't what is it when zig when not zag, they didn't, you got to just
keep up.
They didn't pivot.
There you go. You didn't pivot. Right.
So, and you hear me, we say this all the time: track, measure, adjust, pivot. And if you don't track and measure or you don't pay attention, you're not going to have the opportunity to adjust or pivot. And a lot of times it's too late.
Exactly.
So stay in contact with your clients. You can do, Wes and I, we were talking about this last night. How are we telling our clients to do meetings, to do coffee campaigns? Because you got to change the coffee campaign in the follow-up system, right? Now it's a virtual campaign. This morning, Julie and I, we were talking about we should have a virtual dinner party where you actually prepare a meal right in the kitchen and you have your friends on. No, everybody's got damn technology, right?
Yeah.
Instead of sitting there going like this, right? This is how we can all rise up and we can all bring our community together.
So describe that as far as a meeting goes. So you reach out, and now instead of just doing a phone call, maybe doing some kind of Zoom meeting or a video call, maybe you can even do it on Facebook Messenger. You don't have to
go get
exactly.
a Zoom
you can do
thing. You
exactly
can
do Facebook Messenger. You can do
what is
FaceTime,
FaceTime, all that stuff.
Right. Google Hangouts.
Right. And just
Instagram
check on them.
Live.
Just
now's a great time. Actually, it's a reason to call your database. Honestly, hey, how's it going? How you holding up? Just reaching out. And I know it's been a little while since we talked. Finally had some time to kind of obviously stop and think a little bit and reach out. Now you have a reason. If you ever felt awkward of, it's been so long, I don't want to call. Now you have a great reason and maybe a little bit of time as well.
Right. And you can do like virtual coffee meetings, virtual lunches. We all have technology of some sort. Just connect with your neighbors, your clients, your friends, and your family. I think right now it's a good time you can actually posture yourself to elevate.
Exactly. So some other things too to keep in mind as well is as you have some of the buyers and sellers waiting, you're also going to have potentially an equal amount or pretty close entering in. So there's a few different factors that I just want to point out with real estate that I see, and that is, yes, you have people waiting, you'll have new people coming in. The other thing is not all agents are built equally. So depending where you're at, you're going to have a lot of the part-timers, like he said, they're not going to be going after these leads. So essentially, even if there was less opportunities or leads out there, the pool in which they're being divided or the opportunities are going to the agents is going to shrink during this time, and essentially either leveling it out, evening it out, or actually creating more opportunity for the professionals. Because the real estate industry is not going to stop. It's not shut down.
I actually think it's going to explode once this is all over, because people, the fear of loss is greater than the desire of gain.
Exactly.
Those people who are on the fence about buying, they're like, okay, interest rates are going to go up. My job's still good. I can still get a mortgage. I can still qualify when things are really low. Right. I think this market's going to explode. And then you look at the sellers are like, and a lot of the sellers are going to think, oh crap, the market's going to go down. I need to sell because I want to upgrade or move into a facility or whatever the reason they're selling. Me personally, I think this business is just going to continue to prosper. A lot of people taking money out of the stock market. They got to put it somewhere.
Right. Something safe, especially investors, because
as you know,
rents don't go down in these types of crises. Rents generally stay the same. So if investors find houses that have good cash flow where they can actually make money, they're going to invest in that, especially if they see the market and people losing homes and stuff.
Oh, boy.
Just like in 2008, that turned into a big rental market.
Right. Here's something that we can share with our California agents, because in 2020, legislation changed the property entitlement rights to what you can and cannot do with a piece of property, right? Many of you know that you can convert a garage into a rental unit. Many of you do know that you can put casitas or ADUs or granny flats in the backyard if the space allows for it. These are great conversations that you can have with your clients if you know what you're talking about. That's what I was talking about, educating yourself, posturing yourself to be the local expert in knowledge. We were talking about this before we went on. Knowledge is key. Just Google one time what a knowledge broker is.
So essentially, what I think has kind of we've all been kind of waiting for like a real estate bubble or crash or something like that because of, not necessarily crash, I'll say just a change, an adjustment. We've been waiting for an adjustment, and we all thought it was going to come from Zillow.
Or one of these other.
It kind of did, but
like a major adjustment, right? So the teams were preparing and things like that, that there's going to be something that happens that essentially changes the industry. So right now, that thing is this virus, right? So it's changing the industry. You're going to have the people who are going to make it through are going to be the pros. They're going to be the experienced ones, the people who pivot. It's going to be the teams. It's going to be the agents who basically work on their follow-up. They have their database, but they also know how to basically treat this like a business. And so that's really all it comes down to. You could absolutely, I mean, if you're doing 7 or 10 transactions a year, let's just say, you can absolutely keep your 10 transactions. Sure, okay, 3 or 4 of them said they're going to wait. You should be able to go to your database, educate, all that stuff. You'll get the extra 4. You should be able to find those or make that up. It's not like you're trying to make up, you're selling 500,000 units and 300,000 units dropped off or something. That's a lot to make up. We're talking about, for the average agent, a handful of transactions. And a lot of this, what I was telling people is, even for ourselves, it's taking the things that, the things that you should have been doing, but kind of have been lax and kind of putting it off and really not, well, I'll do it later. It's now this has really made you like, oh my God, I got to do all these things right now. Whether that be, oh my God, I got to organize and follow up my database right now. In our case, it was certain documents and procedures and getting some of the remote stuff worked out. We've been working on that for like 9 months, not really working on it, but like, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, maybe next week. And now we were forced to do that
within
but it forced
48
your
hours.
hand to it, right?
It forced our hand, right.
It
And
did. So, let me interject with this. Tim and I were talking about, because I've been through this before, as you well know. And the only way you get through something like this is you have to act swiftly and you got to communicate, right? So as an agent, you shouldn't be sitting back watching the news. You should actually be acting swiftly, more proactive for
Correct.
your clients.
Yeah, don't just sit around.
More proactive to educate yourself. More time. Here's a time you can start to exercise, to clear your mind out. Here's a time you can actually teach yourself how to time block. This is the time that you can pick up your cell phone and video FaceTime one of your loved ones and check in and see how they're doing. This is a really good time. You can either excel or decel. Remember when we opened up the show, there is this gap. Now it's going to be like this because the market's making an adjustment. And that's okay, because honestly, I think real estate prices were getting a little out of control. It's a good adjustment. It's how do we pivot that's going to separate the pros from the people who are looking for those checks in the mail.
Exactly. So again, this is the benefits that I was talking about. These are the factors that are in your favor in the real estate industry versus other industries. For other industries, it's not quite that simple. If you have a certain type of store and you didn't have an online store before and you weren't heavily promoting that, this is a huge wake-up call, again, of something you should have been doing before. So a lot of these things that are happening, and I'm not saying every industry, some industries, there's not much you could do, but a lot of them are getting a really violent wake-up call, from restaurants to smaller ones, generally, the mom and pop stores, all types of things, who were not really having an online presence. They are now looking at, because sales are actually up. online sales right now through Amazon and things like that for a lot of items. People are online. They have nothing better to do. There's money still out there for some of these and a lot of these people. And if you didn't have that stuff because you kept putting it off, now you have a wake-up call. Now you're forced to do it. In real estate, you have many factors. It's the same thing, except with this, it's no problem. I feel like if you're a professional and you hustle, you should have no problem surviving during this time, making it. You shouldn't have, I think if you you got to work a little hard. And I know a lot of you are like, I'm already working hard. I can't work harder. Then smarter. You're going to be forced to work a little bit smarter and really take a step and say, okay, what do I really need to do? And get on the prioritize of what you're working on. And you can definitely make your income the same that you've been doing, and possibly even because we're early in the year, you could, if play your cards right, you can actually have a better year.
Then
you could. And Wes, you've heard me say this before. One of my partners, Lori, I love this quote of her. Due to your poor planning and lack of preparation doesn't constitute an emergency on my behalf. It's like if you didn't get a payoff on a closing and it's this afternoon and now it's an emergency, right?
right.
This is a great time to plan and prepare. This is a great time where you can actually build out that system, that marketing system that you really, really wanted to have. Now it's a great time to build out that, the ISA job description. There's a lot that you can do as a business owner and a realtor or whatever business that you're in besides sitting there going like this all day long.
Right. Getting distracted by the news and getting overconsumed with feelings and fear and just focusing wherever. Tony Robbins always says, wherever your focus is how you feel. So, and wherever you're focusing is where you're going to go. So if you're focusing on, oh my God, everything's going to crash, I'm not going to make any money, no one's going to buy all this stuff, you naturally mindset, you're going to go that way. And
you just won. You just talked yourself right into it.
Right. And we'll actually end this episode, or we'll kind of like start wrapping up, but I think mindset plays a huge part here, because I know it's easier said than done. Yeah, it's easy to tell me to do this stuff, but I do understand there is a lot in the mind you have to get over, and no one's immune from that. Even the top producers and stuff in the industry, trust me, they first have a panic, probably a panic attack, and then they start thinking through the things that we're talking about, that we're sharing with you now. They start thinking through those things like, wait, okay, well, I could still do this. Oh, I could still do this. I could still do this. And that panic and that worry actually starts turning into excitement, not like saying excitement about the bad things going on. It's just more like, I'm going to be okay, and I could still do the things I need to do, so think about that. Take a moment, lock yourself in a closet or take a warm bath or whatever it needs to be, and just think about how do you flip those negatives into positives, and then, okay, what can you do, and what's the first action that you need to do or that you can do to get there.
So Wes, that actually is I'm glad you want to wrap up on that, because this crisis has forced us to complete a lot of open-end projects. And as you and I know, we try to keep each other accountable as much as we possibly can. I finished our first weekly accelerator 4 weeks. What Weekly Accelerator is, it's a weekly accountability platform that really immerses you into accountability. In the very first week, 4 weeks of Weekly Accelerator is a class called Vision to Clarity. Okay, because we really have to have a clear vision in order to get to where we want to go with our dreams and goals. And because of this crisis, we had to pivot. We've had to pivot on how we buy groceries. We had to pivot on how we go out into society. We had to even pivot on how we walk down the sidewalks. I see people walking down our sidewalks. They're moving across the street just so they don't pass each other. We can actually pivot with our business. Properly plan, okay? So this won't ever affect you again. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, that's a great point, Stephen. And with that being said, what we've actually decided to do is we're going to Weekly Accelerator right now is something we offer. It's kind of like an accountability and mastermind group that we have. And to be a member in there, it's $200 a month. It's not a lot, but it is something. And essentially, we basically kind of we're there to support everyone and support each other and strategize behind these things and give people help and guidance where they need it. Clarity, vision, keeping them accountable each and every week. And then obviously when something like this pops up, we go into that mode and solving those issues. So what we're going to be doing actually is if you are a LinkU member and watching this, keep an eye out for your email. You may have already seen it. You've probably already attended the first call, but we're going to be offering that at no cost for our members. So keep an eye on that, weeklyaccelerator.com. But anyway.
You know what, Wes? We've been talking about helping our community. We've come up with all these creative ways. Why don't we do this? For the next 60 days, next 2 months, why don't we just give Weekly Accelerator away? That gives people the opportunity to pick brains of some of the greatest minds in real estate. It's a great accountability atmosphere or community. Why don't we just give it away for free?
Okay. I mean, yeah. So anyone watching then, so just basically anyone could come to the class, I guess, as long as we have enough room or however that works. We'll have to figure out the tech side. Okay. So yeah, I mean, the next
we
class
only have room for 100. We only have room for 100
that show up.
Yes, exactly. So, and we really should talk about what we're going to do next week. Next week's a really important week. Today was really about helping, sharing. Next week, we're going to have a guest on our show, a former NBC host, a former local radio host, who is a financial fitness expert, who can share with you tips and tricks on keeping you, your family, your business financially fit during these times.
All right, that's going to be on the 31st, I believe.
The 31st, yeah, we're going to shoot it next week, but the 31st of March, right?
Right, so Tuesday the 31st will be the next, we meet every Tuesday at 11 a.m. at our Weekly Accelerator call in the group.
Pacific time.
So if you want to register, go to weeklyaccelerator.com. We will need to put the details there on how to get a free membership. Basically, just go ahead, go through the process, and normally you would be sent, if accepted, you got to fill out an application.
Sure.
But
don't we have Weekly Accelerator Facebook page they can go to?
Yeah. So, well, once you're accepted, once you go to Weekly Accelerator, you apply and all that, and you're accepted in, then you'll be able to get access to the group, and then you'll get the invite, the link to the call, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do that for the next at least 60 days. We'll do that for everybody.
We'll even give them the workbook. We'll even give them the workbook and the worksheets, everything. So no cost, no charge, nothing. All they got to do is give us their email, not even their phone number, because we don't have time to call them. But anyway.
Well, you have to put your phone number because the text message reminders.
Oh, that's right. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, you have to put your phone number for that. But other than that, great. So that's all we have time for. I mean, today we really did think it was important to talk about this, let you guys know kind of where we're at, what's going on in the industry, what other people are doing, and see where, you could take and again, follow-up is going to be key during this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to just survive. You can actually position yourself to thrive when this is all over.
Right.
Because we're going to go back to normalcy when this is all over. If you just go back to what Lori always says, lack of planning and poor preparation doesn't constitute an emergency on your behalf. You can actually be a good planner, a good preparer, and prosper in times like this.
Exactly. So thank you for tuning in for this episode of Follow Up Genius. Hopefully we see you in the Weekly Accelerator call coming up.
Yeah, exactly. Be safe.
I believe a great value. Yeah. Keep
Wash your
safe. Wash your
hands.
hands.
Follow what they're recommending, and let's hopefully all together we can all work together and get past this thing. All right. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you later. We'll talk to you later on the next episode of Follow Up Genius.
Thanks for tuning in to the Follow Up Genius Show. Get the show notes and discover our fantastic bonus member-only content when you become a Follow Up Genius member. Join today free at followupgenius.net. The Follow Up Genius Show is sponsored by LinkU.
Hey guys, you just finished an episode of Follow Up Genius, and as Stephen had alluded to, we decided to give at least 60 days free to everybody of Weekly Accelerator. Now, just to clarify some details on that, this is not a trial period or anything like that. It's not a sale in any way. It's just kind of a guest pass. You guys are coming in as our guests because we know a lot of people are freaking out. A lot of people are maybe you're not freaking out. Maybe you're just looking for what's the best thing I should be working on. What's my priority? Or help me stay accountable to the things that I know I should be working on. Whatever it might be, wherever you may be and stay. If you need help getting out of freak out mode, getting into a positive state, or maybe something else, or any other challenge you might be coming across during this time, we just want to be there for you. And this seemed like the best way for us to do that for as many people as possible. So with Weekly Accelerator, there's going to be, all you do is go to weeklyaccelerator.com, and from weeklyaccelerator.com, all you're going to do is basically click to join Accelerator and fill out this. It's a very short application. From there, we just verify, you're good people, all that stuff. And then once you get in, there's no credit card collected. There's no auto bill or anything like that. You're just going to join us for at least the next couple months, and we'll figure it out, kind of see where we're going from there, and just get value from it. We meet every week, every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, and we will send you notifications of those meetings so you can attend, and we can all hopefully help you to get through this, and we can all help each other to get through this together. So hopefully to see you there on the next class next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Go register now for free at weeklyaccelerator.com. See you later. Bye-bye.